views and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Outdoors People with me, CW Getz, and her, Maya Marzaki. Good evening. It's Wednesday, February 8th, 2023, and we have a 41-degree cloud. That's Fahrenheit, kids. Cloudy day here in Chicagoland, and for you, the rest of the world, the rest of the normal world, that is 4 degrees Celsius. So, Maya Marzaki in São Paulo, Brazil, what is your weather down there?
So it is a beautiful sunny day in here with 30 degrees Celsius, and for you guys in United States, 84 degrees Fahrenheit.
So jealous. I'm always jealous of your weather in the but
you can just pack up your stuff and come here and live with me and enjoy this weather.
Tempt me, and the thing is, I remember you sending things out there, how hot it was in your summertime, which is it is now. And I'm thinking, I don't think I'm that jealous of that, but when it gets that hot, there is too hot. There is a too hot out there.
Yes, so, that's true. There is too hot, like in summer. Yeah.
Well, tonight's episode of Outdoors People is brought to you by Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water.
Campground Views, making camping easier.
By Duluth Pack, made in the USA since 1882.
And by Jackson Kayak, pursuing joy through paddle sports.
Tonight's episode is The Legend of Bert LaMar with our special guest, Bert LaMar. Two-time world champion snowboarder Bert LaMar was a world-class skateboarder at age 13, winning world-class events and inspiring the next generation of skaters. Bert turned the snowboarding world upside down, flamboyantly winning back-to-back half-pipe world champion titles in 1988 and 1989. He was the first snowboarder to attain sponsorship from the big companies and was an innovator of design and creativity for snowboards and snowboarding apparel. Bert eventually created his own brand, LaMar Snowboards, and still oversees all aspects of the company. He has personally pioneered a number of revolutionary designs and concepts that are still sought after by top athletes from around the world. After winning 2 world championship snowboarding titles, Bert went on to become a pro golfer on the mini tours. Eventually, this led to the creation of his own golf brand, Iliac Golf, which produces the highest quality products for the world's top pros. Bert also designs product and training for Ironman events for the world's elite level swimmers, cyclists, and runners. Bert's immense training for Ironman races is what truly separates him from other sports and lifestyle designers around the world. And with that, welcome to the show, Bert.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me and my friend.
Yes, well, thank you for being here. Where are you coming from tonight? And you're using a mobile device, which is very cool, actually. Where are we at tonight?
So we are in Encinitas, California. This is my home. I live just up the street, and this is my little home away from home here. This is my Sprinter, and this is my good friend April visiting from Hawaii.
Hi, April. How you doing? We got to get let's get the quick tour, because I know there are people that want to see the Sprinter van that Bert LaMar lives in. Well,
that is so cool.
I don't know how people live in these things, but it's amazing. But yeah, this folds out into a double bed, and it's pretty cool because it's the long one.
Cool.
Nice.
You can obviously see I'm inspired by swimming, biking, running, recovering, leading, and sharing love.
Love it.
Yeah, but it's fun. This thing had a bunch of bench seats in it, and I took them out and put it in the floor, and this folds over into a double bed. It has a toilet, kitchen, shower.
Wow.
So yeah, kind of all set for whatever you need to do.
I mean, everything's
there. That is so cool. Yes, and you have a great view.
Yeah, today we parked at Swami's Beach. It's one of the top surf spots in the world. Really, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Very
So
nice.
we got acai bowls, and we're excited to talk to you and some of your viewers and see what your world's all about. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
That's really nice. Thank you for your tour. And so let me ask you, how did you get started with snowboarding?
So snowboarding, how I got started with snowboarding was at a young age. My first sport was skateboarding. At age 13, I became one of the youngest pro skateboarders, and I had a pro model out with a company called Sims Skateboards at the time. And snowboards really weren't even invented. I think Jake Burton and Tom Sims were playing around with some boards. I think there's a controversy of who came out with it first. But Sims had come out with a yellow plastic version of a board with just a yellow strap on it, and they gave me a couple. They're like, "Here's a snowboard." I took it up to the snow because I actually skied also, so I knew the snow. But I got on the thing and made a turn, and I went one way and the board went the other. I'm like, this sucks. Like there's no future here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Then like 5 or 6 years later, I went up skiing one day. I just took off from my house and went up to the mountain, and they were allowing snowboarding on one run, and it was the first time I saw a high back on the board, and I literally stopped the guy, and I instantly put it all together. I'm like, oh my god, this works. You can control the board. I think I let him hold my wallet while I took a run. And
I'll be back.
Yeah, I'm like, here, I've got to try it. Yeah, and so I made it right at first turn or two. I jumped and did like a 360. I'm like, oh my god, I'm on a skateboard on the snow, and my brain was just going right away. This is gonna be an amazing sport. I want to start a clothing line. I want to get into this. I love it, and that was my epiphany, I guess you would say. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool when you discover something and you're like, for the first time, it's like, oh my gosh, wow. I can imagine that's what you were feeling at the time, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like love or anything. You get inspired and you
right.
Something really feels right, and you're like, ooh, I feel love.
Well, I don't blame you, Bert. I don't blame you. It's funny because, there are so many people. In fact, we were talking backstage here before the show. My phone's been blowing up all day. People want to catch this episode with you, Bert.
Wow.
You're like, and I use this reference, Eddie Van Halen. I'm telling you, you're very popular. And as well, you should be. Quite a bunch of a myriad of achievements you've made your entire life. And by the way, I didn't realize you were the age that you were. I really honestly thought you were late 30s, maybe early 40s. So
thank you.
Yeah, the fact that you're 45 is very good. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, can you give us a little maybe a little background on when you won each of these titles, and what kind of preparation did you go through? I mean, everybody's got their own method of training and preparation for things. What did you personally go through, and what did it feel like? This is a two-parter. What did it feel like winning back-to-back titles? Because I can only imagine that sort of thing would almost leave many a little complacent, going, I'm at the top of my game. Really, what do I need to do? How'd that work for you?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's a nice question. So the funny thing is, or the ironic thing is, there was little to no preparation for the first World Cup. I literally was snowboarding for less than a month, and I went to Breckenridge, Colorado. I wanted to actually start a clothing line, and I'd snowboarded all month. I just discovered it, but because I grew up skateboarding, I skateboarded every day of my life, and I knew the skateboard tricks, and I also skied. I did some racing. I did some mogul skiing. I was ice snow. So I went to Breckenridge literally to just check out the event. I thought I'd start a clothing brand, check it out, and I started riding the half pipe every day. And the pros kept coming by, and people kept coming by from all over the world. Europe, and they weren't doing any of the tricks I was doing. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. These guys don't even do like 360 frontside, what's going on at the time.
Yeah.
So I kind of entered the thing, and as the week went on, I was better and better and used the pipe, and I just practiced all day, every day, like I did skateboarding. So, and I just lived in the pipe for the week. So I was really in the conditions. And 2 days before the event, Tom Sims and Jake Burton, and I said, no, I was cocky. I'm like, I'm probably going to win this thing. I'm changing my entry to pro. I go, do you want me to ride your board? Like, literally, I remember them just like, I mean, Tom kind of thought I had a chance. He's like, all you have to do is beat Craig Kelly, 8-time world champion. And so I won the event, and I actually people from SWAT, Burton wanted to fly me from Vermont. Like, I was used to working with the media, like skateboard world, being a professional, working with SWAT. So they filmed a commercial, but a lot of animosity. A lot of the pros that were doing this for years and putting in their hard work were like, "Oh, he got lucky," you know. That was my like, wow.
Bert, you're cutting out a little bit here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is there any chance you could maybe come toward the outside? Yeah, just step out toward get a little better signal on the phone there. Yep. Let's see if that helps.
Yeah.
Because we missed a little bit of what you said, your last sentence there.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
I think it's a little better. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there was just some animosity and people saying I got lucky, but I knew, I put in a lot of work. So at that point, I signed some long-term agreements. I devoted my life to becoming a professional snowboarder, and then I went out on the tour, and then it was like hard work that I would prepare, exercise, eat well, sleep well, train all the time, work with the company, and then I won like the first 3 out of 3, I think, in Japan, Italy, and Germany, I think.
Wow.
And so for me, it was important because I wanted people to know I didn't get lucky. So I think I used
There's work involved. There's lots of work involved, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And what motivates? Like when people say something negative, you could believe it and kind of go down with it, or you can use it as fuel to really inspire you to kind of show your hard work.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's really cool. Yes, you for sure are an inspiration for all of us, or like the job you have done. That's really nice. That's really cool.
Yeah, sure.
There goes the skateboarder.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's kind of a little choppy every once in a while. I don't know if maybe the phone, if you put the phone outside of the van and just kind of, I don't know, and sit on the...
And just make sure you are not putting your fingers in the microphone on your phone.
Yeah,
okay.
There we go. I think that's better. Yeah, I think that's better. Go ahead, Maya. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So it is really nice, but kind of annoying because you are very good in everything you have tried. So tell us more about another sports you have accomplished.
Right. So, yeah, and it sounds like that, and people think, oh, you're super talented. But the truth is, I was never the most talented. I think I was just the most determined to not give up and to just try my best. And I think when
That's
you're I think when you're passionate about it, you just want to do it every day and all the time. And so golf is probably the hardest mental sport in the world. And I picked it up, and I was terrible. I couldn't even put the club on the ball. But I loved it. And so I just went in full speed, and I got the instructor, and I practiced every day. I played every day, and I just told myself I'm going to be the best I can be at this. I don't know if I'll ever be a pro, but I'm going to train and try to be the best. And that's the way I do kind of everything. And it's good and bad because I go all in, but it's, to me, it's the most fun and the most rewarding. And so I'm able to connect with pros. So with golf, I got to the point within 2 years where I was breaking par. I almost qualified for the LA Open as a PGA in the PGA Tour event, which is, in hindsight, is kind of remarkable. But I spent 2 years like playing every week in a mini tour event, like never even making a check, just terrible. The guy that when I finally won one, I shot like 5 under par and won one, and the guy wrote,
Nice.
"I've never seen someone." And I think I entered like 71 events to win my like 72nd event.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it looks very different from the outside because you look like and I use this as an example, you know, Michael Jordan, the basketball star, and then he goes and plays baseball. And he really
Right.
was very good at that. Actually, he didn't think so, but I thought he was just fine. But yeah,
Yeah.
you seem to excel at everything you do. And it does on the outside look like you're just a natural at everything you touch. So
No,
kudos
it's not
to you.
not true. Yeah, it's the work, and I mean, to me, I didn't succeed at golf because I wanted to play on the PGA Tour, and you know, win and go to the top, and I didn't. But in hindsight, I got good enough to turn pro for a little while, and then at a point I realized like, hey, I'm not gonna make it out there with Tiger and Rory and these guys. So I started a company around it, and I became friends with all of them and hung out with them and played with them and traveled the world for 10 years playing in Scotland. And they wore my clothes, and so
That's cool.
yeah.
You make your way around anyways. So that's really cool.
Thanks.
Very cool. Yes.
And we will be back with more of Outdoors People right after these messages.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "Well, we don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutabaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground Views virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground Views virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
Duluth Pack is handcrafted for every lifestyle, making memories since 1882. In store at 365 Canal Park Drive or online at duluthpack.com.
We're one big family, a community of paddlers, and we want to make sure that everyone has a great time out on the water.
We are made right here in Sparta, Tennessee, USA.
This is where every Jackson kayak is born, built by hand with a focus on innovation.
We are Jackson Kayak.
We are
Jackson Kayak.
We're Jackson Kayak.
We are Jackson Kayak.
And we're back with our guest, Bert LaMar. Bert, I wanted to apologize to you. We a little bit cut out there during one of the questions. I think it was the second question, but I wanted to ask you something. The flips and things like that we see, these pictures, these famous pictures of you. What do you call that stuff? I mean, by the way, how did you learn that? Was that from, I mean, you weren't flipping like that with skateboards, right?
Pretty much, yeah. So pretty much the same skateboard tricks like an invert or a 360 or a 540. Hi.
Wow.
The dogs come. Yeah, you're pretty much doing the same things in the snow. It's just maybe a little higher and a little different.
Yeah.
But that's why I was able to pick it up so quick. So any kid that's out there that's skateboarding, once you learn how to edge the board on the snow, you can do all your skateboard tricks, especially if they're riding bowls. So I grew up riding vert skateboarding, where you're in the bowls and you're doing the airs and the spins. Yeah, so a lot of it was the same. Yeah, but what's real interesting is, like, I've taken people that are professional skateboarders up to the snow, and because they've never skied and they don't know how to deal with icy patches and fluff or powder or slush, they can't control the board. So they in their minds, they're like, I should be able to just do this trick. But they come down and there's like, whoosh, the board slips out or they can't edge it. So
that's interesting. So the skateboarding really was where you took most of the skills from, but there is the skiing aspect that you're going. You have to know snow also to make this work properly.
You have to edge that board, because if you don't edge it right, you're just. I've taken some of the best surfers, skateboarders, golfers in the world, and they're like, just slam, slam, slam.
And I bet they're pretty upset, but they can't, because they can't get it right.
Yeah. But once they get that, then all of a sudden they can start to do what's in them, but they have to learn how to control and stop the board. So
interesting.
Yeah, I'm taking April up snowboarding first. She's never seen snow. We're going up first time Monday.
He's never seen snow?
She's never seen snow.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to take my Hawaiian brown booty to the snow.
Well, I hope you have a great time. I hope you enjoy it. You got.
Are we going to hate it or to love?
Yeah, right.
I find that out.
I'm gonna make sure she loves it. That's my goal, is to make it real easy and hold her hands.
Yeah,
and just...
I am sure you will do. I'm sure. She's in a good hand.
Well, Bert, you seem to have a unique approach to sports. I mean, and you take that same approach with regard to the products you design. Kind of give us a little explanation of how you do approach these things, if you would.
The product design and development. So, to me, so I've had my hand in developing skateboards and then snowboards, where I really learned to build a company. And just to set the record straight, LaMar Snowboards, I sold that probably 15 years ago, and I removed myself from that, and that's when I moved into golf and started Iliac Golf. And I had major success getting it placed all over the world and used by the top pros and movie stars and actors and presidents, like all these people.
Wow.
Because I lived the sport. I lived it, at the highest level. I was out practicing at Sunrise. I was hanging out at tournaments and trying to get it. So I was in the battlefield, I call it, living the sport, but then I was in my design studio or the molding shop or the fabric store or working with developers or my sewers, in the afternoon or the evening. So I'm bringing the problems that are arising in the sport to the product. So I'm really functional first, but then I try to make it look really creative and artistic and different. And so I was able to really capture that. Like with LaMar Snowboards, I kind of led some innovative things in the industry with a couple different binding designs and sublimated graphics. And so I look at it two ways, or three ways really: living the sport at the truest core level, and then developing solutions to problems, and then making it look beautiful and unique.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So that's how I design, and now I'm doing that with my Iron Man and my apparel for humans and dogs. Yeah.
Cool.
That's very cool. And if you don't mind, and sorry, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about because there's some sustainable materials there, and tell us how that has to do with the sea turtle. There was something there that I wanted you to tell us. Explain.
Yeah. Love to show you. Yeah. So my logo is the sea turtle that I created. So it's an inspiration. I started doing Ironmans a couple years ago. This is the one I just did a couple weeks ago in the desert. And
Oh my gosh, that's really cool.
yeah, materials that I developed. So these fabrics, I'll show you here. Can you hold this for a second? So these fabrics, they look like just kind of regular sports polyester and spandex and that, but they're made from recycled plastic bottles, and they're used with ocean-friendly inks, so or printed with ocean-friendly inks. So the tricky part is there's a lot of people developing these fabrics, but they're not breathable, functional, moisture-wicking, antimicrobial, like a lot of things you need as an athlete to really perform. How do they feel to you?
Oh, they feel amazing. They're like second skin.
Yeah,
That's so cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, that's like a triathlon suit. That's what you live in for 10 hours when you're doing an Ironman. Wow. You swim in it, and then you ride your bike, and then you run a marathon.
Wow.
So
That's very, very cool.
And it doesn't stink when you get done.
Pardon?
It doesn't stink like when you get done really badly, like some fabrics would.
Microbial helps, but
yeah,
that's lower on the list. But for sure, yeah, it shouldn't stink. I mean, that's a good question, because people that are training in these, and then my lifestyle clothes too, like the stuff that I'm wearing, people nowadays are working from home, and then they're going on walks and hiking and whatever and running, and you can't have your clothes some clothes holds that bacteria in the fibers.
Yeah.
You can't really get it out. I mean, we've all had that shirt that we don't want to get rid of, but it still smells, right? It's like,
yeah, absolutely. So tell us how that relates to the sea turtle. That was another interesting thing I heard you talk about.
Thanks. Yeah. So the sea turtle. So my legacy brand is this from the sea turtle. So there's two meanings to it. The first meaning to me personally is I was in Hawaii doing an Ironman. I was nervous. It was my first race. There were like thousands of people, and I'd only been preparing for like 6 months. I didn't feel like I was prepared, and I jumped, and I wanted to see sea turtles all week practicing, but I never did. And I jumped in the water with hundreds and hundreds of people getting kicked, and all these stories about how they're going to drown you, and it's terrible.
Wow.
And then the giant golden sea turtle is in front of me with the sun rays coming off of it. So I'm like, oh, that's a sign. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's going to be a beautiful day. And so I started researching sea turtles, and I've wanted to build a sustainable brand. And then I realized the second point of my logo is the sea turtle is the god of the ocean. And there's 7 endangered sea turtles in the world. And they're all endangered from the cars and plastic and all the stuff that we're doing to the environment. So that's really the inspiration behind the brand, is to try and show companies that if they try hard enough, they can make everything sustainable. Like, I'm literally working with engineers at some of the highest level fiber companies in the world, and they're trying to make, actually my real goal is to make everything biodegradable, so it doesn't even stay on the earth.
Yeah.
But the materials right now aren't even functional enough to go run a marathon in or whatnot, but they're getting there. But the ones I have are made from recycled plastic bottles and that, but they still stay on the earth. So it's a big step in the right direction, but it's not like my ultimate goal. But yeah.
Yep. Well, you're making an effort, and that's important. And because what you've got is some pretty phenomenal stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. And you try to do your best, even though you are not practicing the sport itself. Like, you are trying to do your best with the codes and the materials, and it's really, really nice. You really should bring your brand to Brazil because you are missing those brands. It's a really good inspiration for us.
Very cool.
Yeah, love to. I've been wanting to go to Brazil. It looks beautiful. It looks amazing.
Yeah, just do it up, man. How CW would you say? Do it up, man. Do it up.
Do it up. Yeah, we were climbing down there. We got her to say that.
Do it up. Is that what you say?
Yeah, do it up, man. And
Do it.
we went down there climbing last summer, Bert, and Maya's group hosted us to come down there and shoot an episode. And while we were there one day, we were tired, and I gave her my hat and I said, "Here, turn this around, and I'm gonna dress you up and make you look like a Chicago." Well, we won't go any further with. But anyway, they talked. I said, "Do it up, man, do it up." So she did.
Do it up.
Yeah,
Do it up.
it didn't go viral, but it was very cool just to say.
we can try to make it viral.
Yeah.
It was fun.
That's amazing.
So as CW said, he went here to climb, and I do climb, and I get like hurt every weekend. So I have a question for you about that.
Yeah.
How have you managed to avoid any major injury during your career?
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. As he pointed out, I'm 45, really 57, but I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. But it's taken it took the Ironman really to teach me, and I'm working on a book I want to put out. It's called Zone Control, and I always put myself around the best coaches and people I can, but I still, at the end of the day, like I'm the CEO of my body and my mind and spirit. So I listen to them, but I have to listen to my body first. And so it's taken me a couple years to learn how to run. Like I never ran, so I never ran a mile, let alone 26 miles after 112 on a bike and swimming. So yeah. So
and then you jump into an Ironman, just like that.
Yeah, it's the hardest sport in the world. They say the hardest endurance sport, but I can do it because I fought to find a coach that showed me the technique to run on the balls of my feet, not my heels. And even my coach, who has all these books and is like the god of running, I asked him first, I'm like, who's the most efficient coach out there? He's like, oh, for running, you don't need one. You just adapt to it. And I'm like, no, that's bullshit. Like, you got to have good technique. Because I've seen it with golfers, like the best hunter golfers in the world, whether it was their dad that told them to move their hips and clear, or some coach, but they all have learned to be efficient. And that means preventing injury. So like for you climbing, I don't know what it takes, but like if you can learn to climb the most efficient way, and then it might be a stretch. Like if I don't do a 15-minute undo stretch after every long run, I'll lock up in 2 days, 3 days. My body will get too tight or sore. So it's like those little things that you learn over time and experience to be efficient, and then to treat it with respect. Like that's why I write recovery on my list. Like you can do those three, but if you don't do that, and that means like eating well and sleeping well and stretching well and like taking care of your body.
Yeah, that's very true. People used to say lots about being energetic and how to train, but people do not say about rest and sleep well and recovering. And it is as much as important, the rest of the training and the technique. So it's really nice you bring it here, because that's really important to know, mainly when you are practicing so many sports.
Yeah, and I was lucky to see it because I lived out on the tour with the pros in the world, the best in the world, and you see guys like Tiger that just injury after injury, and I was Charles Howell, who was friends with whatever the football player, the quarterback. I don't know. Anyway, all these guys, they lift weights. They've always been trained like go hard or go home, push, and it just leads to injury. And then I see that there's like a handful of golfers that figured it out, like literally like 1-2% that would, as soon as they finish balls all day or practicing, they're getting massages, they're resting, they're eating, acupuncture, like everything to be ready for the next day. Whereas the rookies are out there, it's just going too hard, and then they're just injuries just on its way. 10 times that in like Ironman racing. Like if you don't recover, so 80, they call it 80-20 training, where you spend 80% of your time in low intensity. And sometimes I'll go on runs for an hour and a half, and ladies will pass me with their joggers and their kids. but I'm building muscle awareness and building my heart, and I'm not injuring myself. And then the next day, 20% of my run will be like at a 6-minute pace, and I'm flying. Where when I was younger, I would have never done that. I would just always be going harder. And so I think that's the big key, that as you get experienced and can learn to balance it.
I think that's important you bring that up, because with age comes wisdom and experience. Maybe not just age, but with experience comes wisdom. And again, there were some people that wanted to hear this tonight because they wanted you to talk about what you just said. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Thanks. Yeah. And it's interesting because I see it. Even I've seen 20-year-old kids. Like I outfitted kid Siwoo Kim, who was the youngest person to ever get his PGA Tour card. He couldn't even put the ball on the tee. His back was always locked up because his dad's mentality was hit balls till dark. Tiger did it. You're gonna do it. And the kid couldn't even move. So, like, someone with some experience could have changed his whole career. Like, that kid could have had, 20, 30 years of winning on tour versus 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And so it can happen at a young age too. It's not just, people that are, it's not age, because everyone I talk to, like, how can you run at 57? And I'm like, because I'm running efficiently. I never have knee pain because I found Don Kessler, who trains the Navy SEALs.
That always helps.
He took their shin split rate from 70% to 2%. So he
Whoa.
works. Yeah. So he worked for Nike with the top 5 fastest runners in the world. And he knows, like, when you run, you land on the front of your foot. And these are the most efficient people that have had long-term success.
Yeah.
So when you want to find healthy efficiency, I think you have to not listen to all these coaches, because a lot of them don't know what they're, how to get the right results. But then when you listen to your body and you're getting it, then that's
yeah. They don't really understand the orthopedic aspect of it like they do the, the sport itself. But yeah, it sounds like.
Yeah. So I don't know, climbing, I'm brutal on your body.
Yes, kind of brutal. We need lots of technique and lots of resting afterwards as well, because we feel sore.
It was more brutal. It was more brutal on my ego than anything, because I sucked.
That's true.
You're great.
Yeah.
That's true. It's such a mental activity more than the body activity. That's so true.
Wow.
But sorry, I cut it up. Sorry.
Yeah, it looks intense. I don't know how. I mean, but like anything, when you start it, I love starting something new because I'm not embarrassed to be. I love to be the beginner. Like I'd have no idea. Like I was just engaged and dating a girl that was a mountain biker, and we went to Portugal and Italy, the top mountain bike places in the world, and I've only ridden 4 times, and I'm up there with her trying to go down these deadly runs. But I'm taking my bike and I'm like carrying it over rocks and things, because I'm like, look, I'm a beginner. Someday I'll be faster, but today I'm not going to break my collarbone.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to walk around that boulder. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
So we will be back with more of Outdoors People right after these messages.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "Well, we don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutabaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground Views virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground Views virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
Duluth Pack is handcrafted for every lifestyle, making memories since 1882. In store at 365 Canal Park Drive or online at duluthpack.com.
We're one big family, a community of paddlers, and we want to make sure that everyone has a great time out on the water.
We are made right here in Sparta, Tennessee, USA.
This is where every Jackson kayak is born, built by hand with a focus on innovation.
We are Jackson Kayak.
We are
Jackson Kayak.
We're Jackson Kayak.
We are Jackson Kayak.
And we're back with our guest, Bert LaMar. Bert, unfortunately, we're running a little short on time. We were going to only be able to do a few of these pictures here, but we got about 5 minutes left. Juan, could you put those photos up, and we'll have Bert tell us a little bit about each one of those, if we could, please.
That was Breckenridge. I think the second World Cup there, in the half pipe there at a World Championship final. A real controversial one too, because I fell. It was like the world title was between me and Craig Kelly, and I fell along the run with the cameraman, and you get a rerun. So I went back and took the rerun, and then I won, and it was a big because I beat the Burton guy. So anyway, that's where that. Yeah.
Very cool. I love that shot. You wiped out the camera guy. Is that what you said?
The camera guy standing on the top of the deck, and I fell because I didn't want to hit it.
Wow.
So they said, like the European guys, because their position in the world rankings mattered on where I finished, so they wanted me to beat the Burton guy. So they're like, take another run.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Those are head covers that I made for two of the greatest in golf, the GOAT, Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. I made those for Jack Nicklaus, gave them to him at a tournament he was doing for children, and he loved them. I used that honey bear brown leather just for him, only for him. And then I made the ones for Tiger, and I pioneered this whole head cover category in golf. No one was making high-end, unique, vintage, cool-looking head covers. So kind of created that world, and was able to meet some of my heroes for sure in golf. And I made one there for myself. And I think the one on the right was the Swedish guy, Henrik Stenson. But yeah, Tiger and Jack Nicklaus, the two greatest golfers ever. So
very nice.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. That's me, my good friends. He's a pro golfer on the PGA Tour, Tyrone Van Asvegen from South America, and he just got on the tour. That kind of shows you the way I addressed golfers. I dressed them more like a snowboarder meets fashion, Prada, like $300 patent leather belts and printed fitted shirts, functional, where most of the guys are wearing baggy striped shirts and khaki Nike pants, sort of stuff. So it was fun. I was able to turn a lot of heads and make a lot of people happy wearing the golf clothes. So I was out shooting pictures of him at Torrey Pines, which is just right over there.
That sure looks great, man. Really does.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. And that's actually sublimated ink that I brought from snowboarding. I was the first to kind of bring that into snowboards, and it changes the quality of the shirts. It lasts a lot longer. This is me and This is Tony Hawk, the GOAT of skateboarding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. April's a big fan of the GOAT. She's like, you should call yourself the GOAT. I'm like, I'm not the greatest of all time. But Tony Hawk is and always will be the greatest of all time for skateboarding. He's a good friend. He lives near here, and that's him and me in my studio here in Carlsbad for my golf brand. And my biggest claim to fame is in his book. He mentions me as one of his heroes, so that's nice.
That's very cool.
Whoa.
Very nice when people do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a real rock star.
Yeah. And that probably like in my teens, skateboarding and at a skateboard contest on my pro model board. I think that's Upland, California. And yeah, it's just
I love that shot.
Thanks. Yeah, just upside down. That's a big, steep, square, oververt, hard bowl. So that's what helped me, adapt to the half pipes and snow, just kind of living in environment and then, bringing it.
Yeah,
So
that's extremely cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's really cool. You still able to do that though?
Pardon?
It's so hard. Can you still do that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. I went skating last year on a big vert ramp with Tony Hawk and Caballero, Gil, and because I don't do it all the time, I don't have the same tools for that. So I'll get hurt. So yeah,
I
I'm just
see.
That's why the
And
Ironman's the healthiest thing. Yeah.
and where can people buy your new apparel and also follow you on social media?
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So my website for my clothing brand, the Sea Turtle, is Bert LaMar Co. It's BERTLAMAR CO.com. So yeah, there it is. And there's a lot of new things. I'm really getting excited. I've been working on this brand for a couple of years, and it's mainly been triathlon and sports, but now there's some new stuff coming. So super excited to get feedback. I love feedback from real good followers that are passionate about their sports and lifestyle apparel. So.
That's fantastic. Well, Bert, listen, thank you for being our guest here on Outdoors People. It was absolutely a pleasure having you here with us and to talk about these things that are so near and dear to you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, CW, and thank you so much from all the way from Brazil. Appreciate it. So.
Very good.
Thank you. And we'd also like to thank each of our sponsors for bringing you tonight's show. Rutabaga Pedal Sports, Campground Views, Duluth Pack, and Jackson Kayak.
Be sure to tune in for next week's episode, Surf Skating, the New Old School, with our special guest, Jamie Armijo. Until then, for Maya Marzaki, this is CW Getz saying, thanks for tuning in to Outdoors People. See you next week.
Ciao.